Hello Internet, I'm YellowMate, and think it's about time I answer some questions. I posted that video saying I was doing a Ask Me Anything Q&A, FAQ, whatever you want to call it, and now I'm going to read through them. What's one death battle you really want to see? It will never happen, but for shits and giggles, I kind of want to see them do Harry and Marv from Home Alone versus Jasper and Horace from 101 Dalmatians. Specifically as like a live action fight and just nail the slapstick. Like, it's stupid, but that's why I want it. Like, look, Blake versus Mikasa, that was like my most wanted fight ever. Harry and Marv versus Jasper and Horace, that's the meme, okay? That's the meme fight I want. Just for shits and giggles, really. What's your favorite color or colors? For a while it was red. I think it was also blue at one point. But in terms of like my favorite color to like, I don't know, wear, I usually just like wearing black. Like, yeah. And I've been liking purple more as well. Yeah, if I had to pick like a top three, I think I'd go with like red, purple, black. Do you have any pets? Not anymore. I used to when I was younger. I had a dog and a cat, but they passed away a few years ago. I have thought about getting a new cat at some point. It's just knowing whether or not I'm ready, you know. What's some of your favorite video games? Okay, let's see, there's, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic Adventure 2, Halo Reach is one I really like, Super Smash Brothers, like Brawl or Ultimate, especially. I really loved, Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Just, you know, the remakes of the Gen 2. Gen 2 was, like, one of my favorite gen when I was a kid. So, like, playing that remake was really cool. And with, like, so much to do in, like, post-game, like, all the legendaries you can go and catch. Like, so, like, there's more options. I feel like more modern games are just lacking. Mario Kart 8 is another one. I've probably poured enough hours into Minecraft to just say that that's on the list as well. Yeah, those are like the first ones that come to mind for like favorite video games ever, I guess. How long have you been doing YouTube for exactly? I... Okay, I did do some videos that were since deleted, but the earliest one I can remember is my reaction to Ragnar vs. Soul, which was 2015? Was that it? Hang on. Oh, no, I misremembered. My first video that's actually still up is actually me playing the Ruby Grim Eclipse pre-alpha, which I forgot that was a thing. Like, Rooster Teeth had it up, like, on the website. Yeah, just play, like, this one level as Ruby, fight some Beowulfs, and then, like, a boss Beowulf at the end. And I remember just, like, playing that a whole bunch, because I was, like, so excited. Like, oh my god, this is going to be a Ruby video game, and this is, like... Well, the fact it's called a pre-alpha as well was nuts. Do you all remember that? The pre-alpha for Grim Eclipse? When that was a thing? Yeah, I posted that December 30th, 2014. Gee. Oh my god, by the end of next year, I'd have been doing YouTube for 10 years. Fuck, man. I guess I forgot about that because Ragnar vs. Soul was, like, the first video where just, like, people were actually, like, watching more and, like, I actually got comments. So I was like, alright, I guess I'll definitely do more of this. But yeah, I forgot that was like my first video. Damn. What's one of your favorite foods, sir? Oh boy. Let's see. Spaghetti bolognese, lasagna, pizza. Oh, well, different kinds of curries like chicken, lamb, especially. Like a classic burger. Ooh, stir fries always nice. Fish and chips with like tartar sauce. Always love getting rice balls when I'm at MCM London. And sushi is really great. What was I talking about? Yeah, I have so many different foods that I love. It's just like, yeah, trying to think of a favorite, I just go on for so long just thinking about all these different foods I like. It's the whole thing. Do you have any predictions on any possible matchups that could happen in Season 10, besides the 4 that were confirmed if you've deciphered the code? Okay, aside from, well, the one that's already happened and the next episode, which is Ant-Man versus Atom and Chosen Undead versus Dragonborn, then there's also Alex versus Cole and Bill Cipher versus Discord, which are happening down the line. Aside from them, if I had to give a prediction for episodes I think are likely to happen this season, I think it's a prime opportunity to do Ash versus Yugi. Or just have Ash in a fight. Because the story's done. So, put him in. I could also see them doing Eggman versus Bowser. Because that's been like a big request for a long time. And look, Bowser's needed a run back. So, that'd be neat to see. Naturally, I kind of hope the finale is like Galactus versus Unicron. Because that's been confirmed for the longest time. And it's not happened. So yeah, I kind of hope that that's the finale. Although, given that it's Season 10... I could also see the finale just end up being Goku vs. Superman 3 or something. Because I know Ben has said that, like, at least on the Road to 100 blogs, if I remember right, he said that he would totally be down for doing Goku vs. Superman one final time. But if it happens, who knows. I would like to see Igus vs. Noel be a thing, because it's been so long since we've had a BlazBlue character, and give Persona another go. Plus, I know that's been like a popular request. Plus, and I think I remember Ben saying that they might look into doing that matchup after the DBX. I think I remember him saying that. I don't know entirely where though. But yeah, that's what I could see. Yeah, those are like the first fights that come to mind in terms of like for Season 10. But hey, we'll see what ends up happening. Will Ruby and Weiss be in a full-on relationship, much like Blake and Yang? I'm not a part of Kruby, so I can't actually answer that for definite. I don't know, will White Rose be a thing? Personally, I don't think so. Like, if they decide to do it, I wouldn't be against it. Like, as long as, like, everything's, like, well-written and everything, then I'm down for what they decide to do. I kind of like the idea of just Ruby and Weiss being, like, just best friends. Like, I want Weiss to call Ruby her BFF at some point. Like, it's gonna be, like, the biggest payoff between those two. But it's gonna feel so good to actually hear Weiss call Ruby that. Plus, I kind of feel like they're setting up Rose Garden for Ruby. So, yeah. I think that's the direction they're going with Ruby at the moment. Is there a Death Battle episode that you would have loved if the results were switched? So many. Just off the top of my head, look, Mario vs. Sonic 2018, like, my bias, okay? Weiss vs. Mitsuru, Ben 10 vs. Green Lantern, Hulk vs. Doomsday is another one. I'm probably also going to throw in Flash vs. Archie Sonic. If, like, I still love that episode. It's in my top 3 for season 7. Oh, Pokemon vs. Digimon. Also, while I'm listing these episodes off, just throwing this out there, that doesn't mean I disagree with these episodes. And, like, whether or not I'm saying, like, they're bad episodes, that's not what this is. I'm just saying, like, you know, if the result were the opposite, I probably would have enjoyed it a little bit more. And I think we all have episodes like that. Who is your favorite villain from RWBY? Thing is, like, I have this thing when it comes to villains, and I'll get to it in a following question, but if I had to name, like, a favorite villain or antagonist sort of person in RWBY, it's between Tyrion and Negative Blake from Ice Queendom. Now, yeah, obviously, like, Negative Blake, it's still Blake. But also, it's just Eren Zek's performance in that, because she is fantastic at playing, like, those kinds of characters, and then there's Blake, who's not like that. So in that performance, she got to combine the two, and it actually gave me chills when I heard the English dub. And I could tell Eren was having an absolute blast behind the mic doing that, so it just makes me enjoy it that little bit more. While at the same time being weirded out because this is Blake and she's evil. And yeah. Tyrion, it's kind of just because, like, he's one of those characters where it's just like he's evil and he loves being evil. And you can tell that the VA just goes all out. Which, that's always something I enjoy about, like, villains like that. Like, especially that cackle. And that's another reason why... That's another thing I enjoy about Palpatine in Star Wars, because Ian McDiarmid is just like, fuck it, and goes all out. Just evil, love being evil. Red team or blue team? That's actually quite a difficult question. Because if we're talking about, like, which team I just generally prefer, as, like, a whole, I would say red team. But if we're asking, like, which team would I be on? Well, if I'm on blue team, then I'm at risk of getting killed by Caboose. More than anyone. It's just Caboose team killing me. But they do have, like, more stuff going on. But at the same time, that kind of puts you more in danger. Whereas with red team, I feel like I would be able to, like, bounce off of, like, that group more and just have a laugh. But at the same time, Griff is on that team, which means I would likely starve. So... that's a difficult one. Thing is, I feel like if I were able to befriend Caboose, then I would probably just enjoy it more. So... I guess I would go blue team, and eventually, like, you'd learn just... Okay... In a combat situation, just tell Caboose, help those guys, and then he'll shoot them. Are there any villains you'd actually like to see redeemed? Okay, this is where I admit I'm weird when it comes to villains. Like, when it comes to, like, villains being redeemed, it's mostly, like, if it's super clear that that's where they're going, then I'm at the point where I'm just like, okay, so... When? Like, for example, with Emerald and Ruby, like, first they showed her being super remorseful at the fall of Beacon in Volume 3. Then you can start to see, like, at points later on, like, yes, and it clearly doesn't give a shit about you. And it got to a point where I'm just like, you're gonna turn, aren't you? Okay, can you just realize that Sin doesn't care about you and just do it? Like, I don't look at many villains and just be like, man, I want you to turn good, please. Or anything like that. Like, if they show signs, then I'm like, yeah, I'm totally down for it if they want to do that. Plus, I don't know how this is going to come across when I admit this, like, in the video format. I actually tend not to feel sympathy for villains most of the time. It's like... Okay, I get it. Awful stuff happened to you, that's why you're doing this. But you're murdering innocent people? So, yeah. Like, that sucks, but doesn't really excuse you, like, what you're doing. What the fuck? Like, yeah. And to be honest, that's kind of why, like, any time a piece of media, like, tries to make their villain sympathetic, it just doesn't really work for me. In fact, that's kind of a whole thing I have with, like, most of My Hero's villains. Like, 'cause they keep trying to, like, make me feel bad for them, but I'm just like, I just don't. I don't know, that's just me with villains. Like, if they show signs, then okay, let's go. But if not, I'm just rooting for the hero. Okay, my camera's battery was getting low, so I had to unplug my light, pull back the curtains, so that it's not, like, too dark in my face, so that's why the lighting suddenly changed. I have 4 questions to ask. 1. Minus Blake vs. Mikasa, what is the most hyped you've been for an upcoming Death Battle? I'm probably gonna say Hulk vs. Broly. Yeah, because I remember winning that fight for a long time. Like, more so, like, after the 2018 Broly movie, when I actually made him, like, a great character to the point he's one of my favorites in Dragon Ball now. So seeing that announced, and of course, like, the extra weight, like, was just, like, kind of agonizing, but it just made me all the more excited when the episode was, like, coming out. I'd also throw Borg vs. TJ up there because of, like, all the hype that they were building up, like the trailers, the boxing poster. I was like, even though I don't really know or, like, care about these two all that much, I'm just excited because, wow, they're really hyping this up. Red vs. Blue is another one that I would have to say is, like, up there for the most excited I've been, aside from Blake v. Mikasa. Thanos vs. Darkseid as well, because I was under the assumption that was going to be the Season 5 finale, like, since the start of Season 5, because, okay, Infinity War is coming out. Prime opportunity, Death Battle, do Thanos vs. Darkseid this year. And, lo and behold, they did. Although last year I was really excited for, like, Vegeta vs. 4, and initially I wasn't excited for it, but then after it was properly revealed, and, like, as the fight got closer, I was starting to get really, really hyped for Trunks vs. Silver. And then there's, like, Meta vs. Carolina, Yang v Tifa, Eggman vs. Wily, Goku vs. Superman's 1 and 2. At this point, I'm just naming episodes I was really excited for, like, when they were coming out. Yeah, those are, like, the ones I can think of off the top of my head. Like, aside from the obvious. What is your favorite video game series? I would probably say Sonic, just because of childhood, really. Yeah, it's either going to be Sonic, like Pokemon, or... Well, then again, Mario's pretty great. Oh, and Halo. Yeah, if I had to pick one, I would probably say Sonic, because that's something that I would play with my older brother when we were young, along with, like, one of my cousins. And I just remember having a whole lot of fun with particularly Sonic 3 and Knuckles and Sonic Adventure 2. So, yeah, I would probably say... I'd probably say Sonic. What is your favorite Ruby volume? Ooh, that is a tough one. It's between... It's going to be between volume 2, because I was at a really low point in life when that was coming out, and watching that really helped. It's part of the reason why Blake was really starting to become my favorite, and that's when I started shipping Bumblebee, and we know how that turned out. Volume 6, because when me and it's kind of like just the me thing, but when me and Max were just doing our discussions and, like, theorizing, what could happen, like, in various upcoming episodes, We called so much stuff right, it was nuts. So I was really, really happy about that. So that's like a big thing. And then, of course, like Volume 9, I just feel like is just a super solid volume all around. And the fact that it got me to cry out of happiness is something that's commendable to me. So, yeah, it's going to be between those three. But if you made me choose, it'd probably be... I'd probably say Volume 9. And after that, 2, then maybe 6. But that's just like... maybe that's something I should really think about at some point. What is your favorite series that has not been on Death Battle yet? Because the thing is, a lot of series I like have already been on. And I'm just trying to think of ones that haven't. I used to watch Shaolin Showdown when I was a kid. I would love to see one of their characters put on Death Battle. Like, that would just be, like, the biggest nostalgia trip of, like, at the moment for me. I just don't know who they would fight, though. Just as long as it's not Omi versus Krillin. Like, I just... No. You know what, just for nostalgia, I'm gonna say Shaolin Showdown. Like, want to see that get on. What inspired you to try your hand at YouTube? That is a mix of me watching the likes of Riz Grestar, Max a Few Trades, Johnny Fireflame, and Shamble 1995. Like, so I watched like their Death Battle reactions, respectively. Shamble, I watched do reactions to Red vs. Blue and Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged. And as I'm like watching all these guys like do that kind of content, I was just like, I can totally do this. And they just seemed like they were like having a lot of fun with it. So I just wanted to give it a try. So I taught myself video editing, recorded my first one, which was Ragnar vs. Soul. And yeah, been doing, well, most Death Battle since then. Of course, I have been a couple ones I've like missed for one reason or another. Yeah, that's what like got me, at least in terms of like reactions. Like, I have done a couple like gameplay videos here and there, and most of the inspiration for that has been Achievement Hunter. Like, especially back in the day when I was watching their Minecraft Let's Plays, when it was Jeff, Gavin, Michael, Jack, and Ray. Like, man, I remember loving those videos. But yeah, I just remember like wanting to maybe do some gameplay stuff, especially with friends, because I just feel like that's a bit more fun. Yeah, that's what got me thinking of doing YouTube in the first place. So I am curious how you got into it, but how did you get into Yu-Gi-Oh? That was when I was in primary school. And because most of my audience are Americans, they'll say, what the hell is that? Like, the UK equivalent of elementary. I think I was in year 3, I think. And, like, some other kids in my class were talking about and exchanging cards. And I think it was either, like, I saw either Red Eyes or Blue Eyes and thought they looked really cool. And eventually I found out that there was a anime, or I thought it was a cartoon at the time. Watched that, and I just kind of got into it from there. And this was like back in the day when no one knew how the fuck to play the game. Like kids back then would just like play Yu-Gi-Oh! And just make rules up. Like, I remember some kids just being like, and now I end my turn and draw a card. Which, thinking about that just hurts. Or like, you'd have those kids who were just like, oh, but I used the secret effect of this, because they just make shit up. Anyway, sorry, just went on a bit of a tangent. That's how I got into it, and eventually, like, when I went on to secondary school, the UK equivalent of high school. I eventually like met another guy who was also into it, and then we had like, because we have this like little friendship circle. It was like me and him, like we both played, and then we found like another guy who was into it, and then we found a guy who wasn't, but we were able to like, get him into it. And then we like just play sometimes. So yeah, like appropriately, I got into Yu-Gi-Oh because of friends. What is your favorite food? I answered this sort of question earlier. Oh, you know what? No, a couple I forgot to list. Pasta bake. Nice like grilled steak, ribs and barbecue sauce. Now I'm getting hungry. Favorite British character except Tracer. I am gonna go with... it's between three. I'm gonna go with Mr. Bean, because who the hell doesn't like Mr. Bean? Like, come on. Del Boy from Only Fools and Horses, and I'm sure my US audience are not gonna know like what that is, but it's like one of the best like UK sitcoms. And just like with Del Boy, like just the charm of him, and just like all the stuff that he does, it's just a good show to watch. Or I'm gonna go with Neil from The In-Betweeners. And I mean the UK In-Betweeners. The good one. Because yeah, I think he just has like some of the funniest scenes. And I just love the way that Blake Harrison plays him. And he has like one of my favorite scenes in the movies, where he's just like at work, like behind a fish counter, sorting out some prawns for a customer. He looks at the clock, it turns 6. He drops the prawns and starts walking away, and when the customer just says, "Excuse me, my prawns," he just goes, "Sorry, mate, I finished at 6," and just walks away. Someone who works in retail, I fucking love that so much. Like, oh, it's just... It's just an oddly satisfying thing. Because I have been in that situation before, where I'm helping out a customer, but it's like the clock's turned to when my shift finishes, so I just want to go home. But, I'm helping a customer, so I gotta sort that out. Like, those are some British characters I really like. And if you haven't watched the likes of Only Fools and Horses or The In-Betweeners, specifically the UK version, seriously, do not watch the US version. It is shit. I'd recommend giving them a watch. Some stuff might not have aged well, but, I mean, that's the case with a lot of shows. So if you can, like, look past that and remember different time, then I think you'll get a kick out of it. Which DB you really want to see the most? Okay, so I kind of answered this earlier, but I decided because it was such a common question, I would just name different matchups for each time. This is something that both me and Max would like to see. And it's like Team Ruby versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We just came up with like ways the fight could go, or like who could fight who, and then they just like join up and do all these team attacks for how the fight could end. And we've talked about how like who wins and why, like a whole lot. Yeah, I think that could be fun. Do you think Ruby is overhated? Yes. Like, God, like there's some people I just don't get it. Or there's like people out there who just like dedicate themselves to just hating a particular series. I'm just like, why? If Ruby had a crossover with a Nintendo IP, which do you believe is fitting and why? Of all of Nintendo's properties, I'm gonna say either Legend of Zelda or Fire Emblem. Like, 'cause I think in terms of like how the worlds work for the most part, I feel like Zelda could work well because, like, you know, you've got like the Grim and all the monsters that are like born from darkness, so they could both be a thing. You could have like Team Ruby like work together with like Link and Zelda. Yeah, I feel like there's potential there. And for Fire Emblem, I don't really have much of a thing for that. I just feel like it just fit. Like, that's really the best way I can sum that up. Any other death battle you want to see? I still want to see Arbiter versus Predator. I remember being disappointed when, like, I saw the Predator be announced and, yep, no, that's who Boba Fett's fighting. Even though Arbiter was, like, right there. And we haven't had a Halo character since Master Chief. And no, I'm not counting Red vs. Blue. Like, I count those as Red vs. Blue episodes, not Halo episodes. Yeah, I still think that fight has, like, potential. And, well, like, for Predator, they would, like, look at, like, the species as a whole. You could totally do that with the Elites, or the Sangheili. And, well, yeah, they would mostly use Velvatamine. That's Arbiter's... Well, specifically the Arbiter we see in the Halos 2, 3, and 5. Like, that's his name. Yeah, they would, like, focus on Arbiter from the games, but be like, okay, so this is what, like, other Sangheili have been able to do. So I still feel like that episode would be cool, and I still want to see it. How are you? Doing alright? Had a con a couple days ago, and I've been recovering from that a little bit because, oh my god, so much walking around. But, hey, it's prep for RTX, which is coming up soon. I've sorted out my travel visa, so the only thing I have left to do is just get dollars sorted, and then I'm set. So I'm feeling good about that. I have 3 Sonic questions. Do you hope for a Silver the Hedgehog video game? I feel like that could be a thing, but at the same time, if anything, I would just hope for Silver to be playable in, like, a game again. And that kind of goes into something that I loved about, like, old Sonic games, where it's just, like, you have all these other characters that you can play as, like in Adventure 1, you could also play as Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Big, despite the fact that it was kind of just a fishing minigame for the most part. Gamma, and then eventually, like, for Adventure 2, where you also had Shadow, who played the same as Sonic, you also had Rouge and Eggman, along with, you know, Knuckles and Tails again. And then for Sonic Heroes, they also brought in Cream, they had Omega be a thing, and then there's Team Chaotic. But ever since after 06, it's kind of just been, you play as Sonic. So, I kind of want Sega to, like, you know, bring back the whole, like, yeah, like, you play as Sonic, but you also play as this person and this person. And yeah, they did do a Shadow episode for Sonic Forces, but yeah, Sonic Forces was kind of honestly. They're not bad, but not great. But yeah, I would just hope for him to be playable in another, like, main series game. How do you feel if the Baby Lone Rogues, Jetwave, and Storm are like the Captain Falcon of the Sonic the Hedgehog series? I've never played a game with them as just characters. Like, I've not played a single Sonic Riders game. The only game I've played that has them show up is Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympics. Jet shows up as, like, a one-off boss in one of the modes. I can't remember much of it, so I don't really have much of an opinion on them. Who would you cast as Shadow the Hedgehog in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 in 2024? Okay, I think I'm just gonna go with, like, the mindset of just the internet and just go with Keanu Reeves. Because I've seen video of people, like, taking Keanu's dialogue from other films and syncing it up with, like, Shadow, and it actually kind of works. So yeah, I feel like I would go with that, and if anything, because Sonic has that line in the first movie, when he sees Keanu Reeves' movie come on, and he goes, "Yes, Keanu!" Like, if I don't see people using that clip, if that's announced, I'm gonna be disappointed in the internet. Is there any particular franchise or character from a franchise, that you would love to see make their first appearance on Death Battle in Season 10 or any seasons in the future? I'd like to see a Fire Emblem character get in. Just because I know that would make, like, some friends of mine happy. I would also like to see Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid get on. Just because that series gets weird, and just having Wiz and Boomstick talk about it would be funny. Or I've mentioned I'd like to see another Persona character, preferably one from Personas 4 or 5, because they're the ones I have more investment in. So yeah, I'm gonna go with those. Who's your least favorite member of Team RWBY? Wow, I've never heard anyone ask it that way. Jeez. I'm just gonna say who's my favorite to least favorite, because I just feel like I'd feel better about it. It goes Blake, duh. Yang, Weiss, Ruby. Like, I love all of Team RWBY. They're among, like, my favorites in the show, just as a whole. That's my stance, at least at the moment. Also, what's your favorite Death Battle matchup? Like, we talking favorite episode, or just, like, these two together? Well, because if we're talking favorite episode, yeah. But in terms of, like, matchup, that's a tough one. I mean, I kind of just want to say that as well. But there's also stuff like Shadow vs. Ryuko, and admittedly Shadow vs. Mewtwo, because I never realized how identical their backstories were until that episode was announced. And I was like, how have I never realized? Yeah, I'm just going to be predictable and just say that. This one's from my friend Billy, and it's asking, should I shave? Bill, anytime I see your face in a video, you have no facial hair. What is there to shave? Also, nah, don't shave. Burn it. Okay, disclaimer, do not actually do that. That is not a serious thing. Did you see Cyberpunk Edge Runners? Nope. Favorite video game of 2023 so far? I'm gonna say Tears of the Kingdom, because I've been enjoying the hell out of that. Best song of RWBY Volume 9? That would be, for me, it's between Worthy and, I can't remember the actual name of it, but it's basically Red Light Roses Part 3. It's one of those two, but I'm also gonna wait until the actual soundtrack is released, and then I'll, like, listen through all the songs and see how I feel. What do you think of a Transformers RWBY crossover? I mean, if it's fun, then okay. So that's actually something I'd have to talk to Brobuscus about, because he's a big Transformers guy. It's just like how that could go down. But yeah, if it's fun, then that's all I ask for. Do you think when people reevaluate old Death Battle episodes, or even some new matchups, they hang too much onto their opinion on the verdict? Episodes like Yang vs. Tifa, Rogue vs. Wonder Woman, and Pikachu vs. Blanca. Yes. In fact, those old episodes as an example, and yeah, I'll just say Yang vs. Tifa for obvious reasons. I still see people to this day complaining about that episode just because of the verdict, and I'm just gonna throw this out there. That video is over 7 years old. So yeah. If people are still complaining about that to this day, I think that says more about them than it does about the episode. And, like, yeah, there have been episodes I've kind of disagreed with, but I'm just like, it's a fun episode. Like, yeah. Although if it does say something in it that's like really irritating, and that's kind of a thing I really don't like about Pikachu vs. Blanca, because they treat Blanca like he was a Pokemon, and saying that because Iron Tail's a Steel type move, it wouldn't work on him. Like, that complaint I understand. What's the most you've ever disagreed with someone on something while still being friends, barring anything political? I don't really get into political stuff anyway, so yeah, there was never any worry of that. I mean, there's probably been like some disagreements here and there on like whether or not, I don't know, we like a certain thing or whatnot, but it's kind of usually as far as it ever goes. It's like, at least for the most part, it's just, I like this thing. I don't like this thing. Whatever. Although I have friends who really like Avatar: Legend of Korra, and I enjoyed parts of it, but there was more stuff I just didn't really care for. And yeah, I have a particular friend who loves Korra, but like we're still friends despite that. Of the remaining RWBY villains, who are the ones you'd like to see redeemed the most or the least? Well, of the lot, who do we have left? Like, we've got Salem, Cinder, Tyrion, and Mercury. At least of like that lot, there's still, like, because we're in Vacuo now, there's still the possibility of the likes of Carmine and Berserlake showing up, or I don't know, maybe Jackson Jillian could also show up. By the way, if you don't know who the hell I'm talking about, check out the books by E.C. Myers about Teams Coffee and Sun, those being After the Fall and Before the Dawn. I don't really have one that I would love to see redeemed, but if I had to pick like who's the most likely, I'm probably just gonna go with Mercury, because like we just had Emerald turn good, and she and him have had like some moments together, and before they parted ways, they shared that look. So I'm just like, yeah, now that Emerald's good, I feel like that's gonna lead to something. But as for what, we'll find out. Speaking of RWBY, biggest hopes for part 2 of the Justice League crossover that is in Herald scaling. Damn it! Yeah, for the most part, I just still want it to be fun. Like, I just want to be able to watch it and just enjoy it. That's kind of how I go about like most shows. Like, I just want to be able to sit down, watch this thing, and be like, yeah, I like that. I had a good time. But if I had to name like particular stuff, I want to hear Ruby or Yankel Clark Superman. That's kind of like the big one. Well, because the thing is, like, I can't really think of too much like plot stuff because we don't know like what exactly is going to happen in part 2. Like, are the group going to go to the DC world and do stuff there? Are like the actual Justice League going to show up in Remnant proper? Or are they going to go back into like, spoiler, simulation world? Then that's like finding out who the villain actually is, like who worked with Kilgore and trapped him. Like, it's either going to be Watts or Mallow from Grim Eclipse. And of the two, I feel like I would want it to be Mallow, because I feel like that'd be the bigger twist. And if you want to try and make this canon, specifically for RWBY, then I think Mallow would work the best. Well, because if they find out that, you know, Watts is the bad guy by the end of part 2, wouldn't that, like, raise multiple questions about Volume 7? So yeah, I think Mallow would probably work the best. What's your favorite Death Battle reaction on your channel? Ooh, I'm gonna have to, because the obvious answer is just my reaction to Blake vs. Mikasa, because, like, I I've wanted that episode for so long, and seeing it actually happen was so, like, surreal. And of course, like, it's one of my favorites because it's why I got contacted by Sean Hines, and he was like, hey, we all saw your reaction and just how into this you were, so we want to show appreciation and send you some free merch. That still, like, remains to this day one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me, and those 4 shirts I got are just, like, my favorites. But aside from that, I would want to go with Hulk versus Broly because of just my joy of my finale curse finally being broken, and just the surprise when I saw Attack on Titan in the teasers for season 8. Just going, hang on a minute. Or there's the reaction to Black Adam vs. Apocalypse purely because of the next time when they showed Trunks and then they showed Silver. I was like, oh no. And people actually made a meme of, like, just beforehand where I was like, and after where I'm just like, I still can't believe that actually got made into a meme, and that was just so funny. Although I also really like my reaction to Yang versus Tifa, partly because, like, that was, like, the first reaction where I actually showed my face, and I was nervous as hell because, like, that was back in the day when I was, like, way more into just like, okay, Yang, please don't lose. And to a degree, I still am. So I was super nervous about, like, that aspect, but I feel like that kind of masked how I was nervous just for the fact of just like, what if people outright just hate my face being in this? Like, that sort of thing. And just, like, the support that video got is kind of what kept me, like, doing just reactions with my face. So, yeah, that's another one I would say. Yeah, like, Yang v Tifa, Hope Broly, and Blake v Mikasa. Oh, and Black Adam Apocalypse because of the Trunks versus Silver. Yeah, I would say those 4 are, like, the top. If I had to pick, like, a absolute favorite, like, it's Blake v Mikasa, obviously. What franchise do you want to see on Death Battle that hasn't been joined? Franchise that hasn't been on Death Battle yet. Okay, I've said Fire Emblem and Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid before. You know what? I'm gonna name another one that would just make a friend of mine happy. I'm gonna say Sword Art Online. Yeah, purely because I just want to see a friend of mine get excited. And he loves that series, whether it be, like, original and abridged. Yeah, just for his reaction, I would love to see Sword Art Online get announced. What's your favorite video game? Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic Adventure 2, Halo Reach. Now I'm just trying to think of ones I haven't named before in this recording. I really loved Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Like, I think that was the last Call of Duty that I actually, like, enjoyed the multiplayer. Like, there were some others where it was just like, yes, it's alright, but I kind of just want to go back to playing Black Ops 2, you know? And, like, I think that was also the last time I, like, enjoyed zombies the most. So, yeah, I'm gonna say, like, I'm gonna add Black Ops 2 to the list. Are you a dog or cat person? Cat person. I think part of that is because, like, every time I look after my aunt and uncle's Labrador, or just, like, interact with it, my nose is just awful. and I'm basically just suffering for an entire day afterwards. It's led me to question, am I just allergic to dogs and I've never known? Which makes me question, like, how did I function when I had a dog in my childhood? But maybe it's just their specific dog, I don't know. But, now for the most part, I think I just prefer cats. Favorite Death Battle track besides Thundershroud? Damn it. You knew the answer already. I mean, I have so many that I just really like. Dragon Dance, Hedge of Tomorrow, Princess of Pride, let's see, Suit Yourself, Final Breath, I'm trying to remember some of the names of them as well, Chaos Unraveled, Ikari, because I have a playlist that has, like, a bunch of them that I listen to in my car, like, before work, and it's just, like, a way to, like, get myself feeling, like, a bit more pumped, so those are a bunch of the songs that are on there. So, yeah, I'm gonna say, like, a whole bunch of those. Favorite Brandon Yates commission track besides Titanic Shadows? Alright, well, if I can't say Titanic Shadows, I'ma say In Semblance Forever, which is the Ruby vs. TMNT track that Max and I went halvesies on. That's another reason me and him, like, want to see that episode, because, like, we got invested into it at so much that we reached out to Brandon and were like, hey, can we commission a track for this? And we just both paid bits for it, so yeah, I'm gonna say In Semblance Forever. But if we're excluding ones that I commissioned or, like, partially commissioned, I'm gonna say Will of the Drill, because, like, look, that one is just phenomenal. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. If you could be any animal by your choice in the next life, what would you be and why? I'm kind of tempted just to say a cat. Just because it would mean that I could just, like, lay around and do nothing throughout most of the day. Like, just basically just relax. Or just do whatever the heck. Plus, if I actually want, like, some affection or something, that's when I just, like, walk up to wherever human's looking after me and just, like, start, like, rubbing my head up against them, like, hey, pay attention to me. If you could be any horror monster, werewolf, mummy, zombie, vampire, etc., what would you be and why? I feel like it would be between werewolf and vampire, because I'm just trying to think of, like, how I could, like, live my life, like, relatively. I mean, werewolf, I would just have to keep track of, like, when the moon is gonna be full, and then try and, like, plan stuff around that. Like, I don't know, maybe have some, like, bunker where I lock myself away because I actually wouldn't want to, like, harm anyone. Vampire, I mean, that's just an excuse to stay up all night, really. And just, like, you know, stay out of the sun. Of course, that would mean I'd have to, like, oh, that would make work a pain in the ass. Yeah, I'm gonna say werewolf. Probably, and just, like, have to try and, like, plan around, like, full moons. I feel like that would probably have, like, the least inconvenience in life for me. Who do you main in Smash Bros. Ultimate? I main Sonic. Of course, I do play as, like, everybody, like, here and there, but Sonic is who I enjoy playing as the most, so yeah, Sonic is, like, my main. Would you consider yourself a jock, a goth, a geek, or an overachiever? A geek. Like, of those options, for sure, a geek. I mean, there's, like, sports I've enjoyed, like, playing, but I've never really given that much of a damn. Goth? No. Overachiever? I don't know, I was a solid, like, C student when I was in school. So yeah. And often I just can't be asked to do so much because I'm just lazy. So yeah, a geek for sure. Who is your fictional crush? Are you new here? What video game character / enemy used to scare you as a child? Honestly, Mephiles from Sonic 06, because, like, they had that one scene in Silver's campaign where, like, he shows up, and then he, like, looks into the camera, it zooms in on his eyes, and the music that plays, like, why did the developers make that scene so damn creepy? Which film or TV series do you think desires another film or series that isn't already getting one? Okay, so I enjoyed She-Ra and the Princess of Power on Netflix. Hated the ending. Nothing to do with adoring Catra, by the way. I mean, after, like, the villain is defeated, it just kind of wraps up. I hate endings like that. It's one of the reasons I also hated the ending of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. And I remember seeing a rumor that there was talks about there being a movie made that goes into, like, what happens afterwards. I would be so down for that. Like, yeah. I would say... At the moment, I would say She-Ra and the Princess of Power. Give that a movie to, like, wrap everything up. Like, give me a sense of where everybody ended up and, like, what becomes of everybody. Of course, like, they've got to go on, like, some quest or whatever, like, to make an exciting movie, but I just want to get a sense of, like, what became of everybody afterwards. Now that we've had another DC RWBY crossover, if you could have a RWBY crossover with any other franchise, no matter how possible it is, what franchise would you like to see them cross over with? Just from my personal bias, I'm going to say Attack on Titan. Yeah, and I think I would have the threat be, like, Titans who have, like, started to become Grimified, and, like, you know, Teams Ruby and Juniper team up with, like, the Survey Corps, and they fight those monsters, stop the cores, and, like, I don't really know, like, all the details of what I would do with it. Like, that's just one aspect. Plus, I think it'd be cool just to see, like and Mikasa, like, fighting alongside each other. Like, that'd be such a trip for me. If you could collaborate with any other YouTuber, who would it be, and what kind of video would you like to do? Ooh, okay, no, I have thought about this. So, a movie reviewer I love watching is The Unusual Suspect, and he's been doing these, like, actor breakdowns of, like, various movies where he, like, highlights all the careers of every actor, or, like, goes into, like, their first role, notable roles that you might know them from, or even some stuff that you might never have realized. I would kind of want to do one of those, but with the likes... Look, just do that for every RWBY volume, really. Like, just do a deep dive into all the careers of all the voice actors, and just, like, his editing mastery. Like, that would be awesome. If you were ever to do a collab Let's Play with Max A Few Trades, what kind of game would you play? Aside from a RWBY game, because I figured that's the easiest answer. Ooh, okay. Alright, so this came from Nightstar. If we're talking collab Let's Play, in the sense of, like, what you guys did with Fire Emblem, where it's, like, Max playing the game, and it's, like me, just, like, in the call, just, like, going through the game with him at the same time. I don't know if it would be, like, an actual Let's Play, or whatnot, but maybe this could be, like, a stream thing. I haven't, like, spoken to him about this idea, but I kind of like to see him go through Until Dawn again. But, like, get all the, like, clues, totems, and save everyone. Because I remember his disappointment when he got to the end of the game, and yeah, he wasn't able to save everybody, but in terms of, like, for first playthroughs and, like, just a playthrough on YouTube, he actually did better than most I've seen. But yeah, it's just hearing his disappointment with, like, the people he didn't save. And I've just always said, like, dude, like, you should do another part where you, like, go back and save everybody. Trust me, like, putting that at the end of the playlist especially will feel so good. Or, I don't know, maybe an idea could be, like, I don't know, going through The Quarry, which is, like, the successor to Until Dawn. I don't know, like, I haven't spoken to him about it, but like maybe that could be a thing. Who knows? But if we're talking collab in terms of like we're playing the game together, I don't know the likelihood, but this is just kind of a pipe dream. But I kind of want to say just like some Halo games, like go through Halos like 1, 2, and 3 playing co-op, like. Because I remember having a whole bunch of fun with my friends from school, just like playing the campaigns together and trying to get some achievements as well. Yeah, I feel like that could be fun. I have to see what he says about the idea. Now that Blake vs. Mikasa happened, what would your next most wanted death battle be? Oh boy. But one that comes to my mind is Kanji versus Beowulf, because, like, yeah, I want him to do another Persona character, preferably from 4 or 5, because they're the ones I'm more invested in. But also, Skullgirls getting in would make a couple friends of mine happy, so I just kind of want to see that happen. So, yeah, that's another one to add to the list. Who is the cutest mom in RWBY and why is it Kali? Have you seen Kali? Enough said. If the Avengers were reimagined in the world of RWBY, what do you think their semblances be? And would their superpowers be different? Well, it depends on, like, what Avengers team we're talking about, because, like, the Avengers team, like, changes so much throughout, like, Marvel. Like, everyone's been an Avenger at some point. But I guess if we're talking strictly of, like, say, Iron Man, Cap, Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, and Hawkeye, like, the OG 6 from the movie, which I feel like is the most recognizable lot. Let's see. I remember seeing this OC a while back that was, like, borderline Hawkeye, because it was a girl, like, a Faunus girl that Blake and Yang, like, in the future, Blake and Yang adopt, who's a Faunus with hawk eyes, and her weapon is a bow. So I feel like if Hawkeye were in the RWBY universe, he would just be, like, a Faunus with hawk eyes. Yeah. Look, if Batman can be a Bat Faunus, like, Hawkeye can be a hawk Faunus, and he would have the eyes of a literal hawk. As for semblance, I don't know who he would have. I feel like Tony would have something like Technopath, like where he could just like command machines, and that's how he would like build an Iron Man suit and have it like morph into do whatever. Basically, just replicate his nanotech suit, essentially. The others I don't actually know. That's gonna require, like, some more thought. Because when it comes to, like, Hulk and Thor, I feel like their powers would just remain the same. Oh god, Thor and Nora meeting. That'd be something. Oh, Captain America interacting with RWBY, that could be cute. But yeah, I have, like, a couple ideas on that. I'm not sure on the rest, though. But that is honestly a fun thought. What other franchise would you like to see crossover with RWBY? Oh boy. Okay, so I've said Attack on Titan, Fire Emblem, and Zelda. What else? I'm gonna say TMNT. Because I know that's a popular idea, and I feel like it would work really well. So, yeah, I'm gonna say a RWBY TMNT crossover. Who do you think RWBY's opponent in Death Battle will be? It's gonna be Maka from Soul Eater. Like, even if that wasn't, like, confirmed by the team themselves, like, Maka's the obvious choice. But that's also happening because when Monty invited Ben and Chad to RTX, he did that because he wanted to tell them Death Battle is awesome, and he hopes that one day they could do RWBY versus Maka. So they promise, like, yeah, that is a fight that will happen one day. It's just waiting for the right time. I imagine it's going to be either when when RWBY's story ends. Maybe that's when they'll do it. But I don't know when, but it's gonna happen one day. I'll drop a few questions. Favorite pizza topping combination? I honestly just like a classic pepperoni. Yeah, just classic pepperoni. That's actually my go-to pizza. Favorite standalone game? As in, it has no sequels, prequels, or shares a universe, or anything. That's a really hard question for me to answer, honestly. Because a lot of the games I play are just like ones from an ongoing series, or like they've had some kind of spin-off or something. Or like something in like the same universe. Like I could just say, oh, Minecraft, but then there's like Minecraft Dungeons and Minecraft, like, they've done like story modes, so I can't really say that. I mean, the closest thing I could maybe say is something like Until Dawn, but it has a prequel game called The Impatient. It's like a VR game where you play through events from 1952. I've seen gameplay of that. I am not playing that. Not because it looks bad or anything, but because... Okay, if you've played Until Dawn, and you know what happens in the 1950s, imagine playing through that in VR. Yeah. Yeah, that's a really hard question for me to answer, and I don't know if I actually can. Because, like, everything keeps getting a spin-off, prequel, sequel, or whatever. Favorite franchise / characters introduced to you through Death Battle? Introduced to me through Death Battle. I'm gonna say Tracer. Because I never got into Overwatch before that, and then when I watched Tracer vs. Scout, I was like, man, I'm actually starting to like the sound of Tracer a lot. Hey, you know what? I'll play Overwatch and I'll main her. And, yeah. So, I'm gonna say Tracer. Which moment that hits you the most in RWBY Volume 9 besides the Bumblebee scene? You keep saying aside from the obvious answers. I'm gonna say before Summer leaves, like we see that flashback of her reading The Girl Who Fell Through the World to Ruby and Yang, and when she says, I love you just the way you are, that hits me really close to home, because that's something that my own mum has like said to me before. So yeah, that hits me the most, aside from the Bumblebee scene, obviously. And also, favorite scene aside the Bumblebee scene as well. If we're talking strictly just like no Bumblebee scene at all, I was gonna say this anyway. I'm gonna say when Ruby emerges from the tree in the finale, and like that whole fight with the Curious Cat, like that felt so satisfying. How has your top 10 Death Battles changed, and would you be interested in doing another top 10 Most Wanted Death Battle video sometime in the future? Thing is, I don't know if I can, if I have it in me to do another top 10 Most Wanted fights video. I mean, I did have this idea of doing like a top 10 favorite episodes video, but the idea is like each episode in there is my favorite episode from each season. So after season 10 has wrapped up, then I'll go through like, okay, so what's my favorite episode of season 1, season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then rank those episodes in terms of like favorites of all. Like, I don't know, I thought that could be a fun idea for a video. I just don't know if I have it in me to do another top 10 Most Wanted video. But, we'll see. I won't rule it out, but it's just that so many of them have happened, and I still remember I was going to do like a follow-up to it. Like, I had a script written and everything. Then Hulk vs. Broly came out and teased Ryuko. Ryuko vs. Shadow was on that list. So when I realized that, I was like, oh sweet, Ryuko vs. Shadow! Wait. Ah, oh, damn it! Because all that work I'd done was just like... it's just for nothing. But at the same time, I was just happy to have that episode be a thing. And I did that skit at the beginning where I'm just like, hey, Shadow's cool. And then show his last couple deaths. I planned on doing that for that video. But I decided, you know what, I'll just do it in my reaction because I don't want to lose that. I'll ask Free, besides Mikasa, which character is your favorite opponent for Blake, if there is anyone? Yeah, honestly, like, for me, it was Mikasa or Bust. Like, I remember going through, like, requests I had seen for Blake, and I just did not like most of them. Like, oh god, I remember seeing Black Panther a bunch, and I'm just like, why? Like, one dresses like a cat, another is part cat. Like, and even then, it just comes down to, this guy wears vibranium. Yeah, like, I thought that matchup was dumb. I saw Batman as well, and I've honestly always hated, like, the Blake-Batman comparison. It's part of the reason why I felt such a wave of catharsis when, before the crossover film came out, people were asking, hey, since Blake is, like, Ruby's Catwoman, are we gonna see a fun interaction between her and Batman? And Aaron said there aren't any. Because Blake spends most of the movie with Wonder Woman because, yeah, from, like, a character perspective, she actually has more in common with Diana. And that was something I started to realize, like, leading up to that. And I felt vindicated. And before anyone says anything, no, that matchup is even dumber. I think, like... I mean, I thought Akane from Akame ga Kill was okay. But at the same time, I was like, well, she's not Mikasa, though. And at the same time, like, I came across Killua from Hunter x Hunter. And when I looked into them, I thought, oh, you know what? That's who Akane should fight. So yeah, I guess if Mikasa didn't exist, then maybe Akane. But I would also be like, oh, but Akane versus Killua, though. But yeah, Mikasa or bust. As someone who likes to make hypothetical non-SNK/guest teams for King of Fighters, I like the input of other fans of RWBY. If Team RWBY were a King of Fighters team, roster typically consists of teams of 3, which one of the 4 would you have excluded for what reason? Not necessarily asking for your least favorite member, but if that just so happens to be the reason, that's fine too. That is... Thing is, I don't know if I can exclude any of Team RWBY. Like, no. Like, just 3 of them just feels wrong. Yeah, I don't think I'm physically capable of excluding any of them. Opinion on pineapple on pizza. Ew. That's my opinion. Ew. Since some of your ideas from your last top 10 most wanted death battles video, and since some of them have happened, what would your modern top 10 most wanted death battles look like now? I don't know, because, thing is, I'm also trying to remember what else was on that list. Okay, so, I've still got, Harry and Mar vs. Jasper and Horace. Kanji vs. Beowulf. Aaron versus, Wanda from Shadow of the Colossus. That's another one. Millennium Falcon versus Planet Express. What else was on there that hasn't happened? Oh yeah, there's still Arbiter v Predator. Team Rocket versus Pilaf Gang. I still want all those. Yeah, those 6 episodes would still be on there. I don't know what 4 would replace. I guess like Team RWBY versus TMNT would be on there now. Um, I'd have to like seriously like sit myself down and think about that. But yeah, at the very bare minimum, those six would still be on there. I would have to think of like the four that would be on it. I mean, okay, this is kind of a behind the scenes thing, but part of the reason some episodes were on that list was because those were episodes I could actually think of a script for. So those weren't necessarily my like top 10 of all requests, but whereas those were just ones I could actually think of like a full on like script or like jokes for. So I would actually have to like sit down and like really think about some of it. But yeah, I expect like those six, and I think I've talked about other fights on like lads and uh stuff. So yeah, but best I can really say is just those six would still be on there. What would be your most wanted series to cross over with RWBY? Let's see. I've said Attack on Titan, Fire Emblem, Zelda. Well, Avengers came up. TMNT. I'm trying to think of episodes. Like, I'm trying to think of ones that could. Oh, I don't know how this would work, but you know what? Screw it. Let's have a Mario crossover. And I'm saying this mostly because I remember, like, because Max is doing this, like, Month of Weiss, thing, where he's just uploading, art pieces of Weiss, who is his favorite character, every day for the month of May. And one piece of art he did was, like, Weiss with the Fire Flower, and, like, actually, like, altered her, like, outfit as though, like, yeah, this is Fire Weiss, and she's got the powers of the Fire Flower. Like, the prospect of, like, Team RWBY with those power-ups, that could be awesome. Like, I don't know, let's just do something like that. Or, hell, even have them cross over with Sonic. Like, would they get a super form if they, like, got a hold of the Chaos Emeralds? And what would that look like? I feel like those could be fun. What's your favorite Sonic game? Oh, boy. Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic Adventure 2... I really like Sonic Generations and Sonic Frontiers, aside from, like, the final boss of Frontiers. I guess I'm gonna go with just Adventure 2 if I had to say overall, which I want that game remastered. Like, Adventures 1 and 2, I feel like are prime candidates for, like, remakes. Like, hell, we've had, like, remake collections for Crash and Spyro. Give us a Sonic one. Like, I don't know what the third one would be. Like, I guess maybe it would have to be Heroes. But yeah, I feel like remakes of those games would be really cool. Hell, if they want to update some stuff, like, I don't know, I saw this video where it was just, like, what I would do for, like, a Sonic Adventure 1 remake. And it was like reworking some mechanics and whatnot for the likes of Big, Amy, and Gamma, I think. And I thought those ideas were really cool. But yeah, also with just like the voice cast that they have now, and like fixing the audio mixing problems, because there were some things where like the characters would, like, talk over one another, so you couldn't really hear what they were saying, or the music was way too loud. Like, fixing stuff like that, that would be awesome. Like, I'd be so down for, like, Adventures 1, 2, or, well, not to be remade. And finally, aside from Bumblebee, are there any other ships that you like? If we're just talking in RWBY, I really like, Renora, so Ren and Nora, Rose Garden, Ruby and Oscar. I think that's cute. Cinnabon, Velvet, and Yatsuhashi. Those are like the big ones I can think of. I did it for like for my fanfic. I can't remember the name of it. I'm not even sure if it has one. Uh, Ilya and Coco. Like that's the crack ship for me, and I only thought about it because I was like, okay, so in this scenario, I don't know, if like Ilya wanted to get comeback made, and suddenly introduces her to Coco. They work on it, and then after finding out that Ilya's a chameleon faunus, like Coco realizes, oh my god, like I can do all this stuff, and it gets the creative juices like flowing, and that becomes like a surreal experience for Ilya because this human is actually excited by the fact that I'm a faunus. Like what? Like, and it goes from there. So I like that idea, and that's why I have it in my fanfic. I don't know if it's probably not going to happen in the actual show, and like whatever. But I don't know, it was just a cute idea in my head that I was just like, nah, I'm including it in this fanfic. I remember being asked what my opinion on hummingbirds was, which is the idea of Crow and Summer. And no, this isn't going into the idea of Crow being Ruby's biological dad. That's not the case. But I did think, I don't know, what if Crow had a thing for Summer, but it just felt like because of his semblance, he couldn't actually go for it with her. And I don't know, would add like some more layers to it, and it's just like, that's why he's super close to Ruby, because like that's the daughter of the woman that he had a thing for. And this one's kind of just an in-joke between me and Max, but it's the idea of Klein and Willow. I just feel like there's some like potential there. Also, it just have the comedic, screw you, Jacques. That's not like the reason like I kind of like it. It's just that's an added bonus. Although if we're talking outside of Ruby, I liked Amore from Pokemon X and Y, which is Ash and Serena. I don't know the name of it, but Yosuke and Chie in Persona 4, because the way those two interact throughout the story, it's just like they come across like they both have a thing for one another, but they're just too scared to actually acknowledge it. So it's like one of those schoolyard crushes where someone's just like, oh, kind of like you, I do, like that sort of thing. I think Broly and Chile is kind of cute. Yeah, those are like the first ones that like come to my head. I'm just trying to think of ones that aren't like canon. Like I mean, I mentioned Renora, like, and they had that confession and kiss, but they're still like trying to work things out, and I hope they do. So, yeah. But yeah, those are all the ones I can think of off the top of my head. So, yeah. Okay, so that's it for questions. There was a lot, and just this raw recording is over 2 hours. I have a lot of editing to do. But yeah, thanks for all the questions. Had some interesting ones about that really like got me thinking. But yeah, it was fun doing this. I don't know when I'll actually do another one of these. I just kind of felt like doing it because I saw Max do it and was just like, yeah, why not? But yeah, thanks for all the questions. I hope you've been enjoying like whatever I make that you like. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in whatever. Bye.